our second talk. We're a little over time, so we're going to go right into it. But I just want to point out that this gentleman that's I'm about to introduce, he actually spoke on this stage about 5 years ago, and he was a huge hit. I don't want to build him up too much because I might set the bar too high, but trust me, he can clear it. It is awesome. Now let me do this great introduction now. Social media doesn't just connect us. It enables scientists to collaborate on research at incredible efficiency, resulting in the highest rate of new discoveries and new species since the bone wars of the 1800s. Paleontology's biggest rules were smashed in 2019, and the fallout will be, what else? Evolutionary. Classical westernized dinosaur naming has given way to traditional local customs in Africa and Asia. The dinosaur family tree has been uprooted with a whole lot of new branches to grow. And dinosaur pirates, that's a thing now. Jimmy Waldron is a teacher and paleontologist specializing in dinosaurs. He previously served as president of the Florida Fossil Hunters and lived the dream as paleontologist for Orlando Science Center for 6 years. All right, now he shares the journeys behind the bones with his video podcast called Dinosaurs Will Always Be Awesome with hashtag DWABA. All right, Jimmy combines interviews and scientists about paleontological discoveries, got it that time, hands-on activities, and STEM careers to bring dinosaur news to the modern world with a presentation called Hicks or It Did Not Happen, the evolution of social paleontology. Please welcome to the stage, Jimmy Waldron!
Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going for Ricardo Williams one more time. That was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today. My name is Jimmy. I'm very glad to have you guys here with us tonight. I'm so excited to meet all of you. One question for everyone though. Who is here because you saw a Facebook post or you got tagged in something, or maybe you saw one of the fire memes on Ricardo's Instagram that brought you here tonight? Who's here because of social media? Show a round of applause. Who's here because of social media tonight? That's what I thought. This room is full of people brought together by social media done right. And one of the things that we're seeing now, scientists are catching up to this trend and finding out more about how to use these modern tools to really present something fantastic to the world. My conversation here tonight, we're going to take a look at how scientists are using this tool of social media to really explain and entertain and educate the masses. And a talk tonight called Hicks or It Didn't Happen, the rise of social paleontology. So, I start this, the way I start every interview that I do with a scientist, and I want to ask a question: what's your favorite dinosaur?
Raptor.
Raptor. T-Rex. Who else? Dinosaur. Littlefoot. Gamera. These are all Gamera. Gamera's a turtle. Different brands. But yeah, we all have these favorites. We have Stegosaurus, Triceratops. You get a nostalgia wave looking at these animals again. You have the Brontosaurus, the Ankylosaurus, and of course, T-Rex and Velociraptor. There's one problem though. None of the animals that you see on this screen are the animals I just mentioned. In fact, every creature you see in this picture was discovered in the last 24 months. Every dinosaur you see in this picture is a brand new discovery, and they have some fantastic names. CRITTENDENCERATOPS. This is a ceratopsian the size of a Great Dane. It's a fantastic animal found in Kentucky. A Campanian is a new armored dinosaur, the first armored dinosaur discovered in Mexico. DYNAMOTERROR? DYNAMOTERROR is a name? That's an amazing name for anything. That's the coolest name in any dinosaur, except for T-Rex, so always number one, up to 2. And then Hesperornithoides, a new raptor just discovered this year, the oldest and smallest raptor relative found right here in the US. The science of paleontology is alive and it's constantly changing. And using social media allows us to do some really fantastic things. It's improved the collaboration with organizations like the Sci Community on Instagram, or the My Fossil Project, which is based right out of UF. citizen scientists are able, there you go, go guys. Citizen scientists are now able to share their discoveries with a hungry public, with only as far away as your iPhone or Android. And these things are so fantastic because it allows us to take the world of dinosaurs into our modern era. This is the press conference where Hesperornithoides was discovered. It was streamed on Instagram. This scientific breakthrough that changes everything we knew about the evolution of raptors got so many likes on Instagram, it was like legit. I want to take a closer look at Hesperornithoides too, because this is something that's really important. This particular study was led by an amazing artist named Scott, who did this from skeletal drawings. Scott is the one who led this particular study, along with Dean Lomax, and Bill Wall, and Jessica Lippincott from the Wyoming Dinosaur Center. Dean actually lives in the UK. This is the actual specimen of Hesperornithoides. A lot bigger than it actually is. With this scale bar here, this is a space of about 10 centimeters. So this is actually a very small specimen. But it's so remarkably preserved. We can see the teeth, we can see the bones. We've actually mapped it out as well. So we've got the hind limbs, the forelimbs. This little guy right here, wishbone. And so by seeing all these things and visualizing them in a whole new way through these new technologies, we're able to bring this science to the new world in a way that we haven't been able to visit before. Something else that social media does really well is it breaks down barriers that would have held science back before. This is Susie Maidman. Dr. Maidman is the curator for non-avian archosaurs. Basically what that means is really big, non-bird-like dinosaurs. So like your long necks and your ceratopsians and all things like that. She's in charge. She's the curator for the Natural History Museum of London. Using social media has given us an ability to reach a much larger audience and really celebrate and properly identify and really celebrate the achievements of women and scientists of color who have not been given the same forefront over all these years. Dr. Maidman was responsible, she was the lead researcher for the discovery of Adriaticlid, the newest and oldest stegosaur ever found, discovered just this year in Morocco. In fact, the name Adriaticlid is from the Berber language, it's a local regional dialect, and its name translates to the mountain lizard, which is again a really cool dinosaur. So, leading this paradigm-shifting discovery, did she present this in a stuffy journal entitled Only to the Few? Or was it done through some university or some major institution's paywall? No. She tweeted it. And put the real research and the science out there for the world to like, comment, and share. Unprecedented access to this. Now, with the good of social media, you also have to find the bad. We are seeing an increase in something known as paleopiracy, where we find people who are looking for really exciting or interesting looking bones that may have significant value to the scientific community and turning it into value for the dollar for the private collector.
That belongs in a museum.
It belongs in a museum! There's a problem that comes with this though. Tracking where a fossil is at every stage of the discovery is vital to making sure the science that we're doing is repeatable and is valid. Discovery thrives on repetition. Other scientists need to be able to recreate your results, otherwise we can't be sure that it's true. A collector who wants to get something really fine and awesome looking is going to take it out of the ground, slap some Vinac on it and some different shellac to make it look good, and sell it for the highest value. They're not keeping track of the scientific information. This is one particular example, a baby Tyrannosaurus fossil, not verified, that was the only one, maybe the only one T-Rex that went for $2.9 million on eBay. This particular specimen caught a lot of interest and a lot of attention from the world news because of two things. One, it's a messed up thing to do, and two, it has the word T-Rex in it. These pirates love to look for things like T-Rex because it's such a great name, and they're always going to misspell it too. It's not T-R, it's T period, lowercase r. T period, lowercase r.
doesn't come in shirt.
That's right, that's right. So with this discovery, with this thing, it sends a lot of interest, and it's actually divided the paleo community as well. Because you have some scientists who think, no, absolutely not, this belongs in a museum, we need to go back, we need to claim this specimen and put it on display for the rest of the world. And you have other people who think, well, wait a minute, if I see that there's money in them Dar Hills, that might inspire more people to take up the cause, and maybe they get converted to the good side. So it's actually kind of a duality issue, and something that we're still kind of looking to see how you might feel about that. But that's an opinion that you can have, and I hope that you guys come to a really cool. So the other thing that makes social media so great is that it's a lot cheaper than some of our earlier methods of collaboration. In the olden days, which were like 2004, if you were going to collaborate with fossils with other scientists, you had to take this heavy, fragile material, wrap it up in a plaster jacket, put it into a suspended crate, wrap it up with chicken wire, and then put that crate into another crate, and then ship everything the safest way possible. The vibrations of an airplane through airmail can completely destroy a fossil. Not to mention shipping it over ground, you hit one pothole, you're going to lose 65 million years worth of data. But if I could just email you instead, that'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? So now, with the cutting edge technology of photogrammetry, we are actually able to take high resolution 3D scans and recreate these items in a digital way, true to scale, research quality. And then, you've got it. And once you've got that, we can then put that skull into a 3D printer, which then allows the skull to come back into the same scale and allows researchers around the world to confirm the information and come to their own observation and deductions. It's a very groovy thing. So, historically, the way that we've discussed and we've named these dinosaurs goes back to the Linnaean classification. That's the whole kingdom, phylum, King Philip came over from Germany singing the stuff that we learned back in grade school. That applies here. We've always used Greek and Latin as the descriptive terms. In fact, the words Danos and Sauros stand for terrible lizard. Those two words were combined by Richard Owen to make the word dinosaur. And we use those same classifications to name dinosaurs based on physical features, or proper names of where they were found, or who found them, or traits that we think they might have had. So when we have a name like Triceratops, referring to the three horns, or Argentinosaurus, the largest land animal that ever lived, or T-Rex, which you guys know. We use that system to name these creatures. It's still the standard, still the primary, but it's changing. Because we have such interconnectedness on a global scale, we can start to use some of the other information from some of these local areas. Take a look at this. We're going to head over to the Liaoning province in China. China is producing some of the most diverse and most game-changing fossils we've discovered in the last 40 years. There are some specimens here that are so unique, they're changing the way that we consider dinosaur evolution. This is the Chinese symbol Long, which is a word that means dragon. Just about every dinosaur in Western classification ends in saurus, which means lizard. The Chinese went with dragon. So creatures like Guanlong and Dilong and Bipiasaurlong. This is the depiction of a Chinese dragon. Someone asked me today, when do we think people first started discovering dinosaurs? And I said, well, it depends whether you think it's intentional or not. Every culture that has agriculture and has started to plant and grow food also tends to have dragon myths. It's a very odd correlation, right? If you have a culture where you can dig and grow your own food, you also have dragon myths. And this correlation has something to do with the fact that farmers digging up in their fields come across a strange set of bones with sharp teeth that look like they burned and turned to ash. What the hell is this that I'm looking at? I need something to explain it. And so the ideas of dragons and these mythological creatures entered into our first social media, the oldest social medias that we have. So myths, oral tradition, MySpace. These ancient myths. is a statue of the griffin. The griffin has a lot of similarities to the skulls and the remains of Protoceratops, another ceratopsids. Now, the idea of griffin fossils, Protoceratops fossils creating the griffin net have been kind of somewhat debunked over time. But because paleontology is living science, things are always right until they're wrong. We have found other newer specimens that we've actually named things like Anzu. Anzu is the name of a very large oviraptor dinosaur. Walks on 2 feet, covered in feathers, massive sharp-looking head, with a beak that can tear just about anything apart. We named it after Anzu, who was a Mesopotamian god of destruction. We're having fun with the names. 2019 dinosaur names are the best names. And I know we had a lot of Star Wars information here tonight, but we also have a few Trekkie fans in here tonight. So I gotta tell you, there's another dinosaur in the same group that we have named Khan! With 2 A's!
Yes!
Khan is a dinosaur that's another oviraptor and may have actually given rise to some of the myths of these ancient creatures that we didn't have an explanation for hundreds of years ago. So, let's go over to another area. We're going to take this trip now to Tanzania and into Africa. And this is a new dinosaur. I showed you this one I said as a dinosaur before. This is a creature whose name is Manyama Wamtuka. And it doesn't exactly roll up the tongue unless you're really fluent in Swahili. But I think with a little bit of help, this might sound a little familiar. Let's try something here together. Okay. Manyama Wamtuka. Such a wonderful Manyama Wamtuka, a titan of the east. We lived in Africa, now the long next long deceased. It's all heavy trod, new sauropod. Everybody! Manyama Wamtuka. Titanosaur, one of the largest creatures that ever walked the earth. And its actual name, Manyama Wamtuka, which you guys will be singing when you walk out of here tonight, means the heart of the Wamtuka. It's a river in Tanzania. And we call it the heart because one of its tailbones is shaped like a heart.
I mean, hearts aren't actually shaped like that. I mean, that guy in the class, but that's not
Don't eat his cornflakes, okay?
We're going to take one more trip out of Orlando. We're going to go to a place called Coahuila in Mexico and then a city called Saltillo. This is a new dinosaur we discovered called Acantholipan gonzalesi. Acantholipan gets its name because acantho means spikes. And as you can see, the guy's got spikes for days. This particular, and the last name, the Lipan portion though, is actually named for a tribe of Apache that live in the area called the Lipan. It translates to the gray people. This is the scientist who discovered him. His name is Dr. Hector Rivera Silva. He's the lead paleontologist and the curator for the Museo del Desierto. And he was one of the first people I got a chance to interview when I started this project. And it was so interesting to see how social media is used all over the world to really tie these animals together and to really promote this information. So we mentioned that we were breaking a lot of big rules for 2019. For a very long time, you could apply just about any animal to this chart and find out if it's a dinosaur or not. Throw out an animal. Any animal.
Dog.
Dog, perfect. Has a dog survived the Permian extinction? Yes, they have. They're here. Okay. Do they have feathers or scales? No. Not a dinosaur. Next, what else? A goose. Goose, excellent. Did a goose survive the Permian extinction that wiped out 99% of all life on Earth? Yes, because they're here. Do they have feathers or scales? Yes, they do. Do they walk on land? Why, sometimes, yes. Do their legs go straight down beneath them? Yes, yes, they do. Goose. Dinosaur.
Tell it to Steven Spielberg.
And this year we discovered something phenomenal. People would always say to me, my favorite dinosaur is a pterodactyl. Well, a pterosaur, a flying reptile, is not a dinosaur. They lived alongside them, kind of like the way that bats and birds are not the same thing. This is Ambopteryx. Ambopteryx broke a lot of rules for us. This animal is a dinosaur. It fits all those characteristics. And that was a gross oversimplification anyway, but its legs go straight down and it checks off all the boxes. But here's what's crazy. It has these membranous wings covered in little feathery bristles. It flew like a bat, and it was a dinosaur. This is the first, well, this is actually the third flying dinosaur that we've ever discovered. And the first one was only 4 years ago. Ambopteryx, along with its other relatives like Lichtig, were found in China as well, because we're seeing so much more information now that we're being careful about our things. So, a lot of really interesting stuff to share with you, and I know that I've had a nice conversation. You guys enjoyed this so far? Up here are just a smattering of some of the people. I said smattering. Like that's this presentation full of weird words. This is a collection of excellent science communicators and paleontologists and paleo artists who are using the power of social media to really grow the level of knowledge and contribute to our overall understanding of the world that we live in. And so I hope that you guys will take a look at this, and I'm going to post this as well on my Instagram at Dinosaur Podcast and also on my website at DWABA.org. And you'll be able to find all these people with links because these are excellent human beings to get to know. And I hope you guys had a great time tonight because I sure had a good time talking to you. So, did you have any questions about the stuff we talked about or stuff that we didn't talk about?